Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm just here today on an afternoon shoot over at Southend and looking at the pier today. Weather conditions are favourable for long exposures is probably the best term from a photographic point of view we can do. But yeah, very grey, very overcast, definitely not what was predicted on the weather forecast today, but hey ho, it's working with the conditions that we've got. So the tide's right in now, which is great because I'm hopefully going to be able to get underneath to some of the structures of the pier when the tide starts to retreat and obviously work with that. But for the time being, while the tide is in, I'm able to sort of try and get some images of the structure here as well, and some of obviously the guiding lines of the railway line that's actually here, which is quite a unique point about Southend Pier, but also obviously some of the decking boards as well, leading lines, etc. as well. So hopefully work out a good afternoon shoot. So let's come along for the journey. So I've just got an image set up here using the ND filter, 10-stop ND filter that I've got, angled the tripod right onto the middle rail line here between obviously the walkway and the actual tram line, and working out to be quite a good image. So I've got it set up on f11 ISO 100 and calculating about a 10-second exposure to actually smooth out the sky, which there's not much movement going on there, but it's also smoothing out the water as well, and the kind of comparison of the two is working out really quite well. So hopefully that image will be really good. I've got the cable release on there as well, and the eyepiece covering up the actual eye hole, just so obviously I can't let any light leaking in there as well, so working out to be a good image. So I've just got my next image set up here with one of these old jetties that are actually here in the water, and got the camera on its full extension with the ND filter 10 stop on the front, and working out to be quite a good image. I've got the camera set up on f20, ISO 100 and a 30-second exposure to really sort of blur out any of the detail in the water and the sky as well, and keeping the sky or the horizon line right on the top rule of thirds line, just so obviously you can focus more on the actual detail of the structures here as well, and obviously create that sort of bit more of an ethereal look with obviously the blurred sea and obviously then the sky as well. So hopefully working out to be a really good image. So I made it down to the end of the pier now, which is a fantastic walk actually, really pleasant walk. There's not much wind at all today, just a little bit of a gentle breeze, which is creating some sort of movement on the water, which is fantastic, and obviously then smoothing out of the images that I've been able to capture. So I grabbed myself a coffee, had a little bit of bite to eat, and now I'm going to head back down to the other end of the pier so I can obviously get some of the exposures underneath the pier and some of the structure underneath there as well. So yeah, working out to be a really good afternoon shoot so far. So just walking back to underneath the pier and come across this image looking straight out to sea, or back into actually the estuary of the River Thames here, and I've noticed obviously some breaks in the clouds, letting some of the sunlight, shafts of the sunlight come through as well. So again, still taking long exposures, because I really think that's the sort of the theme of today is the long exposures. So I've got the camera set up on f25, ISO 100, 30-second exposure with the cable release, and obviously the eye patch covering up the viewfinder as well. So working out to be quite an interesting image. I think with obviously the detail of the grey of the water, the grey of the sky, but then obviously those bits of light coming through, hopefully bringing out in post-processing as well, will work out to be quite an interesting image. I think very grey, but actually quite an interesting image. So hopefully it'll work out really well. So I've just got my final image set up here, looking back over at the underneath the pier. Unfortunately, the actual tide is not as far out as I was expecting. It's over two hours now since high tide, so I was expecting the tide to actually be further out than it actually is. But unfortunately, that's it. I reckon probably the image that I really wanted was sort of straight underneath the pier, looking right out with obviously the structures of the pier underneath. But unfortunately, it's probably going to be a good hour or so until that actual composition is going to present itself, and unfortunately I've not really got that time to wait around that long. But however, not to be that defeated, I've actually got an image here looking back out across at the pier. I've set the camera up at f16, ISO 100 and a 30-second exposure to obviously get that image there as well. And I'm working out really quite interesting. I've got obviously some of the beach huts that are here on the top of the pier, and as well as one of the sort of markers for the groins as well. So hopefully working out to be really quite a good image. So So it's worked out to be a really good, interesting shoot this afternoon over here at Southend at the pier. I think I've been able to capture some really interesting images with obviously the grey skies, the water as well smoothed out with the long exposure. I think hopefully we'll sort of complement each other and hopefully work out to be some interesting images. I think probably all of the images will work out a bit better in black and white, but until I get back to the computer I don't really know about that one. But yeah, as a location, really interesting, and I think obviously hopefully coming back here to actually capture that image underneath the pier is definitely on my list for a future visit. But thanks a lot for watching. If you have enjoyed today's vlog, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thanks again, massive thanks to everyone that's recently subscribed to my channel. I cannot believe how many people have actually recently subscribed, and it's amazing. So thanks a lot for watching and take care.